and dangerous.
So dangerous everywhere, dangerous striking, huge reach advantage.
Yeah. But if you're Topuria, you're not going to go up to 55 without some sort of guarantee. Because remember, he's giving up the belt, so he's not getting pay-per-view points.
But it's his idea.
Well, because the weight cut's too tough.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Bro, he hits mitts like a world champion boxer.
Yeah.
Bro, God,
Yeah, that's clean. Crispy. Clean. Everything.
Joe Rogan has issued a brutal warning to Charles Oliveira ahead of their highly anticipated clash at UFC 317, where the Brazilian will face the unbeaten Spanish-Georgian powerhouse Ilia Topuria. Speaking on his Fight Companion podcast, Rogan didn't hold back in highlighting the risk Oliveira is taking by stepping into the octagon with a fighter as dangerous as Topuria. Ilia is just so freaking dangerous, Rogan said. He's so technical too. The way he bobs and weaves, slips punches, and moves in. He's so comfortable with his head movement. He's a step ahead of everybody. Rogan's assessment comes as no surprise to those who have followed Topuria's rapid rise through the UFC ranks. Known for his ferocious striking, crushing power, and unshakable confidence, Topuria has torn through every opponent he's faced, leaving a trail of broken contenders in his
Charles
wake.
Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria is probably happening at UFC 317 International Fight Week for the lightweight interim title. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a big fan of both of these guys, but if I'm being honest, Ilia is going to smoke him, probably in the first round.
The build-up to this fight has been intense, with Oliveira and Topuria trading barbs online for months. The rivalry only grew stronger as rumors swirled that Islam Makhachev, the current lightweight champion, might move up to welterweight, leaving the 155-pound throne vacant. That shift has now become a reality, setting the stage for Oliveira and Topuria to battle for the top spot in the division. Oliveira, the former lightweight champion, is no stranger to adversity. He clawed his way back from the brink of being cut from the UFC to become one of the most dangerous submission artists in the sport's history. With a long, rangy frame for the division, Oliveira has used his significant reach and deadly Brazilian jiu-jitsu to overwhelm opponents both on the feet and on the ground. Rogan acknowledged this, saying, Oliveira is so tall and so dangerous everywhere. Huge reach advantage.
UFC 317 International Fight Week, June 28th from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. You all know Ilia Topuria, undefeated, 16-0, vacate, and now he's moving up to lightweight. He will face former lightweight champion and number 2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title.
But as Rogan pointed out, physical attributes alone won't be enough to stop the surge of Topuria. The 26-year-old has built his reputation on breaking opponents both mentally and physically, forcing them into mistakes and capitalizing on every opening. His last performance against Josh Emmett was a masterclass in controlled violence, showcasing his ability to dominate both striking exchanges and grappling scrambles. Ilia Topuria has vowed to defeat Charles Oliveira in the least painful way possible when the two collide for the vacant UFC lightweight title at UFC 317. The stakes are massive, with Topuria aiming to become a two-weight champion after vacating his featherweight belt in February. Meanwhile, Oliveira is determined to reclaim the 155-pound crown he held between 2021 and 2022. A title he lost to Islam Makhachev in brutal fashion.
28th from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. You all know Ilia Topuria, undefeated, 16-0, vacated his featherweight title. He knocked out Holt, Holloway, and now he's moving up to lightweight. He will face former lightweight champion and number 2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. Co-main event. Flyweight champion Pantoja will defend
Topuria's decision to move up came quickly after Makhachev vacated the lightweight belt this week to chase welterweight glory. With the division left wide open, the UFC wasted no time in pairing the unbeaten Spanish-Georgian with the battle-tested Brazilian for the top prize. Yet despite the high stakes, Topuria has made it clear he doesn't view Oliveira as a particularly dangerous challenge. I feel sorry for Charles, Topuria told Alvaro Cole in a recent interview. Whatever is least painful for him, that's what I'll do, because I like him a lot.
Even what I was telling you before. Like, when you got 10 losses in your record, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. it's 10.
Yeah.
Like, when you walk in with a guy that has 10 losses, the level of confidence is completely different. It's completely different
It's a
than
bold
when you...
statement, and one that cuts deeper than it appears. Topuria's confidence isn't just bravado. It's a calculated shot at a fighter whose chin and mental fortitude have been repeatedly tested under the bright lights. For Oliveira, the road back to the title has been anything but smooth. The Brazilian has been dropped in 4 of his last 7 fights, including a brutal TKO loss to Makhachev at UFC 280. He was also wobbled by Michael Chandler's power at UFC 309 last November, raising questions about his ability to withstand the kind of punishment Topuria is known to deliver.
Division, but just like when Khabib Nurmagomedov vacated the belt, there will still be a lot of questions. Would the new champion beat the old champion who vacated the belt? Because the champion never lost. With that being said, when it comes to predictions for this fight, you guys know how I feel. I think Ilia Topuria is unfortunately going to knock out Charles Oliveira, and I think it may be in a pretty brutal fashion. Charles Oliveira's 2 biggest weaknesses are his chin and his striking defense, and when you're going against a guy like Ilia Topuria, El Matador, that is not the kind of weakness you want to have. I think this is about as bad of a matchup as you could get for Charles Oliveira, because Ilia Topuria is also a very competent grappler. I think he'll be able to fend
Sterling's
off.
assessment raises an uncomfortable truth for Oliveira. While he holds the record for the most submission wins in UFC history, his path to victory against Topuria isn't as clear-cut as fans might hope. Topuria has never been submitted, and his only real brush with adversity came against Jai Herbert, a fight in which he recovered to deliver one of the most vicious knockouts of his career. Topuria himself has been quick to emphasize the psychological edge he believes he holds over Oliveira. During an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, Topuria took a direct shot at the Brazilian's record. Charles Oliveira, this is what I was telling you before. When you have 10 losses on your record, that's not 1, 2, 3... That's 10, Topuria said. When you walk into a fight with a guy that has 10 losses, the level of confidence is completely different. It's completely different than when you walk into a fight with a guy that's undefeated. He's a dangerous guy. He's never tasted a loss. That's a different mentality. You're going to have to kill him to make him give up.
For Ilia Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Topuria then took it a step further, openly questioning Oliveira's mental toughness. In the case of Charles, if he finds some adversity, he's going to go to the ground, and he's going to sit and wait until the ref ends the fight, Topuria said, delivering a stinging critique of the former champion's fighting spirit. For Topuria, psychological warfare isn't just for show. He's been outspoken about his belief that Oliveira's history of quitting under pressure makes him fundamentally different from the undefeated killers he's used to facing. To Topuria, Oliveira's long list of losses isn't just a statistic. It's a clear indicator of a fighter who can
Charles Oliveira against Ilia Topuria I mean, it's a good fight. It's an unbelievable scrap.
It's unbelievable, but
I think Topuria.
you think we have. Unless Topuria does not look the same at 155, which is a possibility, because they hit harder at 155. You know, there could be a. Look, what if Charles is still there in the 3rd round, the 4th round? Ilia can't get him out of there. And then it becomes
even the legendary Islam Makhachev, who holds the record for the most successful lightweight title defenses in UFC history, has been dragged into the trash talk. Topuria didn't hesitate to call out Makhachev as a hypocrite for avoiding a potential matchup between them. He is the biggest hypocrite I've ever seen, Topuria told Cole Monero. He said he didn't want to give me the opportunity in a lightweight title fight because I was the little guy. And now the little guy is the one looking for the same opportunity.
I would say top 5 pound-for-pound dressers. Top 5 pound-for-pound dressers.
Yeah.
UFC.
Absolutely. Well, it's so interesting, right? Because, you know, sometimes you can tell a lot about someone, the way that they dress a little bit. And you have Charles Oliveira, who, you know, is very flashy. He'll certainly be the more colorful guy in the suit. You know, he always comes with like a green or a red or something wild. You know, hair dyed, all that stuff. And then Ilia Topuria kind of like, you know, like your clean, kind of normal type suits, but everything, you know, really well done.
Even took a swipe at Makhachev's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, adding, Ali should thank me for not beating his star. That's the fight everyone wanted to see. I put everything I could on the table, and they ran away. Why chase? If someone runs away, you don't have to bully them. I don't want to fight people who don't want to fight me either. With the trash talk escalating and the stakes at an all-time high, UFC 317 is shaping up to be a defining moment for both Oliveira and Topuria. For Oliveira, it's a chance to silence his critics and reclaim his throne. For Topuria, it's the final step in his journey to become a two-division champion and cement his status as one of the most feared fighters in the sport.
And Islam's entire situation, or his entire argument is, I've done this not just once, I've done this twice, it's everything to gain for you, and I have nothing, when the reality is, this should be the undisputed champion versus the BMF champion. That's what this should be. Ilia Topuria should be, right now, the BMF champion. And it's not the first time the mistake has been made to walk a BMF champion out there and
Arman Tsarukyan and Justin Gaethje, two of the most explosive and unpredictable lightweights in the UFC, are both eyeing a clear path to the 155-pound throne. With Oliveira and Topuria booked for UFC 317, and Dustin Poirier clashing with Max Holloway, for the BMF title, the lightweight division is in a state of chaos, creating a golden opportunity for fighters like Tsarukyan and Gaethje to stake their claims. Tsarukyan recently made it clear that he sees Gaethje as the logical next opponent. It all makes sense, Tsarukyan said on the Jackson podcast. Oliveira is fighting for the title, Gaethje has no fight. Poirier is fighting Max Holloway for the BMF title,